Andrew Carnegie was born on November 25, 1835. This date became important because it marked the beginning of a life that would change the story of industry, work, and giving in the world. His name is remembered in many places, but his story is not about his family or where he came from. Instead, it is about the way he worked, the choices he made, and the ideas he shared. When Andrew was young, the world was already moving into a new time. Machines were growing more common, and factories were starting to rise in many cities. People were talking about trains, steel, bridges, and progress. Andrew looked at this world with curious eyes. He wanted to be part of it. He wanted to use his energy to build and to grow something larger than himself. He believed that work was not only for survival but also for creating new paths for the future. He began his journey with very simple jobs. These jobs were not easy. They were long, tiring, and gave him little rest. Yet he learned from every moment. He looked at the way businesses worked, how people moved goods, how machines made things faster, and how money passed from one hand to another. Andrew was not only working, he was studying life, industry, and progress. Every day gave him new lessons. As time went by, Andrew found himself in better positions. He worked with companies that moved goods on railroads. Railroads were important because they connected towns and cities. They made trade faster, and they opened the country to new possibilities. Andrew saw that the railroad was not only about trains. It was about steel, coal, bridges, tunnels, and the spirit of building. He began to dream about something even bigger. Steel became the center of his dream. At the time, iron was common, but steel was stronger and more useful for building tall structures, long bridges, and safe railroads. Andrew believed that steel was the future. He decided to focus all his energy on this industry. He wanted to make steel cheaper, faster, and better than anyone else. He worked hard to bring new ideas and new machines into the process. The steel business grew quickly. Andrew was a man who understood both the details and the big picture. He looked at how each worker added value, how each machine saved time, and how every part of the factory could move more smoothly. He also looked at the world outside. He saw the bridges being built, the railroads expanding, the ships moving, and the cities growing. All of them needed steel. He gave it to them. His factories became famous. They were large, busy, and filled with workers and machines. Smoke rose into the sky as steel came out in huge amounts. Many people looked at these factories as symbols of modern power. They showed how the world was changing from small workshops into great industries. Andrew was not only producing steel, he was shaping the future of entire countries. But Andrew was not only thinking about making steel. He was also thinking about what people should do with wealth. He had a strong belief that money should not be kept by one person forever. He said that a person who dies rich dies in shame. To him, wealth was not only for comfort. It was a tool to help others, to create schools, to build libraries, and to open doors of knowledge for people everywhere. He began to give away much of what he had earned. He built libraries because he believed that books could change lives. He gave money to schools because he believed that learning could open minds. He supported projects that built music halls, research centers, and places where people could grow. He wanted people, especially the young, to have the chance to read, to study, and to dream, just as he once did. This act of giving became one of the most important parts of his life. He was not remembered only as the man who built steel factories, but also as the man who built libraries, schools, and institutions of learning. The money he gave did not only help people in his own time. It continued to help people long after he was gone. Books he paid for were read by children many years later. Schools he supported taught students who became teachers, doctors, and leaders. Andrew also wrote about his ideas. One of his most famous writings was called The Gospel of Wealth. In this work, he explained his belief that rich people had a duty to give back to society. He wrote that money should not be wasted on personal luxury, but should be used to help many. His words were simple but powerful, and they influenced other wealthy people to think differently about their own money. The story of Andrew Carnegie shows the journey of a man who saw the future in steel and in books. He did not only want to build factories. He wanted to build minds. He did not only want to earn money. He wanted to use it for the good of others. His story teaches that industry and kindness can live together, that progress is not only about machines but also about ideas, and that success is not complete unless it is shared. Andrew's birthday, November 25, 1835, reminds us each year of the start of a life that helped to shape the modern world. His ideas about work and giving are still read today, and his buildings and libraries are still standing. People walk into these places without always knowing his name, but they feel his gift in the shelves of books, the classrooms filled with students, and the music that plays in great halls. His story is not a story of rest. It is a story of constant movement, of energy, of building, and of sharing. It shows how one life can touch many others. Andrew believed in progress, and he believed in humanity. He thought that knowledge was the true power, and that wealth was only a path to spread that power. Today, when people study his life, they see more than steel and more than money. They see a vision of responsibility, learning, and giving. They see a man who rose with the machines of the new age, but who never forgot that the human mind was the greatest machine of all. Andrew Carnegie lived as a builder, a thinker, and a giver, and his story continues to shine as an example of how one person can leave behind not just factories but a legacy of knowledge and hope.